I will be making these, first of all, greetings to you from the black screen. I will be making these probably back to back for a while. It's live in my own mind's eye right now. I've been through that process that everyone is waking up to, and I'm proud to say it is liberating. Now the gifts can come and flow. I can set them at my own feet. It is a birthing of self, the God within, the man within, the woman within, the boy within, poverty within, richness and wealthy within, and coming out, the pouring out of those things, the breaking of the amniotic sac, the delivery bag. And you can blame it on your job, you can blame it on debt, you can blame it on whatever you want. You can give it the credit. My mom did this for me, my dad did this for me, and you're only half right. You're only 3/4 right. You're only 99% right. There is a space and a place reserved just for you, just enough room for you to squeeze through. And you can't take anybody with you. It's just for you. It's just for me. My space is for me, and that's why it is said if someone tells you, Jesus is coming back and he's over here or she's over there, don't believe them. Because the truth is the truth for you. And in the words of the oracle, you've got to make up your own damn mind. You're scared to curse, you're scared to smoke, you're scared to not smoke, you're scared to drink, you're scared to not drink, you're scared to meditate. You don't know what to do, and you just start figuring it out the best way you know how. You go inward. You start inciting a riot. You start making yourself mad. You start pissing yourself off. You start using people to bump up against, to crash, to burn, to have an accident with. Show me me. Show me why am I me? What am I doing here? What are you doing here? What do you want? The cry for help. It's a lonely cry. It's the dark night of the soul, they call it. And I've seen such beautiful souls and lights on YouTube talking about working on your shadow self. And I didn't know if I wanted to emulate. I knew I wanted originality, uniqueness. And I kept making excuses and reasons to present it in such a way, to monetize it, to, have all this theatrics. But when it comes to true birth, that moment, it's unpredictable. And you just have to wait and see. And that became hard because I knew, and for a few of these hours might be days and weeks and months and years for some people. A few of those hours, it just felt like nothingness. It felt like numbness. And I remember that feeling giving birth to my children. It's why it's so much easier for people that are really in tune with their motherhood or their feminine energy, or give great honor to the goddess, the matriarchs who never forgot not just their physical birth mother, but the birth mother in them, whether male or female, because there is no male and female or no gender reveal in Christ consciousness. In truth, truth has no black version or white version. It's either the truth or it's not. And so I sit here in my bedroom, the most beautiful place to birth myself. I even have a birthing room, if you will. I didn't know that's what it was called. I just kind of made it. I call it kind of an inward court, a core. I cleaned it out real good. I didn't realize the other day I was nesting. I've been nesting for 2 or 3 years now. I've been trying to leave this physical house, leave your mother and father, and go to a land I'll show you. I kept using Bible scripture, gleaning and pulling from anything, Mother Goose, nursery rhymes, you name it. If it made any kind of sense, Muslim, Catholicism, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, prana, Eastern medicine, acupuncture, chiropractic, physical, fasting, doesn't matter. It all got me up into a beautiful point. It all orchestrated me. Relationships, temporal, some long term, some permanent. But at some point, I had to put the phone down. I had to put the earphones down. I had to take the earbuds out. I had to look in the mirror and look myself square in the eye. And then I went one last and final time to my children, to my lovers. And I don't mean that in a sexual way that it's usually limited to. Some I didn't talk to at all. Others I felt obligated to say something. I have to tell you how I feel. I'm leaving. And this is not physical. I'm leaving. And it's not personal. But I want to know, will you be there on the other side? They couldn't answer that. It wasn't for them to answer. But I had to ask. It's kind of that moment in the birthing room in delivery, and you ask your partner, do you love me? Can you get this thing out of me? They feel helpless. Doesn't matter if they're your mom, your dad. It's between you and that baby now. It's between you and the universe, the God that you know and love. And I've been guided by my mother's teachings. I've been guided by my father's wisdom and teachings. I've been guided by knowledge of good and evil. And I've eaten off the tree of life. And I've experienced some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful days on this planet. This dark black planet that has shrouded the truth for our own glory and experience to be revealed. And that day for me is today. So I encourage you to hang out, to hang on, to hang in, whichever direction you need to go, even if it's all directions at one time. You will see the end. We all win. We are all one. And I play on words, and I love etymology and the rearrangement of the languages that have been confounded for so many years, the rearranging of genders and the confoundment that we're unraveling. The gods, the angels are back, the mothers are back, the queens are back, the kings are back, the lions. And it's not by happenstance. It's by divine destiny that this happened 3 days before one of my, I'm going to call her right now a girlfriend and a daughter. And her name is Marie. 3 days before her birthday. And we're into the Virgo season. A virgin shall be with child. You are that virgin and you are that child. Hold yourself and love yourself through every process that you're going through every misunderstanding. My biggest downfall was feeling misunderstood, was feeling unloved, but it wasn't from people, it was by me. You do it for everyone. And you take a little for yourself, sure. But first things first. The breath that breathes in and out of you is the only breath you have to really give yourself. It's the only breath you can really count on. It's up to you how deep you take that breath or how shallow you take that breath. It's up to you what you see in the mirror. It's up to you whose voice you hear, inside or outside of your head, where you focus your attention, where you focus your light. Because when it's time to emerge and see, that's going to be the tissue That's going to be the sinew. That's going to be the blood, the sweat, the experience, the tears, the tears that will allow you to burst forth. Will it be out of angry feelings? Will it be the awakening of an angry God, of a beast that's ready to destroy the world? Or have you finished that? Have you become the beast so that you may lay with the lion and the lamb as a good shepherd? You reconcile the two. Animals go back to eating from the tree of life. Proverbial vegan. Not everyone has to turn vegan. Not everyone has to let go of the gluten. These are just for our expressions and our learning, to my knowledge and opinion at this time. I've stopped eating a lot at all, honestly. Just in its totality, I don't eat a lot. I've lost a tremendous amount of weight in the last 3 months. I've bruised myself. I've cut myself. I've scratched myself. I went in fighting and I came out victorious. I refused to let me go until I made a name change, until I made a name of myself, not for myself, but of myself. And I was proud to see the integrity. I was proud to see those tears were tears of love. Sure, frustration. They were bringing me down to nothing, to 0 point energy, the point of dilation. There's no need of breaking the bank. If you're going to break the bank, whether it's bankrupt from negative bills or bankrupt from a positive influx, it still lends for problems. And so I had to find a zero balance in myself of value. I am nothing. I'm not great. I'm not great. I'm not poor. I'm not rich. I'm just here. Here am I, waiting for my change to come. And there were so many signs, so many wonders. Scary even to walk through that, to pull through that, to crawl through that. It was my Shawshank redemption. And I had a great memory. I had a great team. I had a great cloud of witnesses, both earthly, heavenly, imagined, real, spoken, unspoken, in the shadows, in the light, through journaling, through meditation, through dance, through interpretive dance. You name it, I've done it. Juicing, it all helped. Walking, running, crying, crawling, planking, I did it all. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the feeling that I have to flow. I've yelled, I've screamed, I've cussed, I've smoked, I've choked, I've doped, I've serotonin, I've melatonin, you name it. We've been medicated, masturbated, you name it. Mind fuck, you name it. It's all designed to get you to this divine place. And I love it. I love it and I love it. There were times I wanted to explain myself to people. There were times that I did try. And well, it just didn't make but so much sense to them. Some people really resonated. Some of my closest people I've never met. They're strangers to me on YouTube, but after a while when I started to look out at the stars, the Michael Jacksons, the Michael Jordans, and the stories, and the newer gods on the scene, the new stars that are sprinkling the heaven sky, the night sky, being a light in a dark place, the comedians, the females, the LGBT community, the obese, the skinny, the anorexic, those who cut themselves, those who can't seem to understand why they do what they do, obsessive, artistic, autistic, science, biology, class, religion, symbols and signs, mysticism, paranormal, witchcraft, you name it, ancestors, you name it. the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods, the Asian gods, the gods of the Orient, the Magi. There was nothing withheld. All knowledge was open and available for me to glean from, to learn from, but it was up to me to accept it, to swallow it, to chew it, to digest it, to spit it back out. It was all my choice. Sometimes I just choose to let it go. Sometimes it scared me. My clear dreams, my lucid visions, my daughter giving me back what I had given her for so many years, the confirmation, and then other times it seemed like she just glazed over. And I knew it was a matter of time, but I didn't know when. Like a bird, you can nest, and it's great if you do know the signs and the symbols. I wasn't doing my hair, wrap it up real fast, and I didn't like the way I really looked. Am I taking care of myself? It's hard to take care of you and a baby. And for those who have a baby, again, there's documentation for that. To have some entity that you love, a part of you, a mini you, to love and care for and nurture and be demanding of your time at a time that you yourself is transforming. And I believe that was part of the postpartum, because we have another birth right after. And it's you. After the child is born, the mother has to be reborn. And hormones are dropping and feelings are failing. And there's a loss. Yes, the baby is born, but the womb is feeling a loss. And that's what the transparency of those that have a global audience, we appreciate their transparency, their honoring their humanity by telling us, hey, I had a baby. Yes, I'm a superstar in my own right, in my own field, but this baby is a different story. That she's taken something out of me. He's taken something out of me. And it feels like I might have needed that. He's taken emotion. He's taken the ocean of feelings and concepts and ideas. And I feel stuffed. I feel overwhelmed and interwhelmed. And so we need to know, the world needs to know, that money doesn't solve that final problem. And I had days of joy and happiness even though I was financially temporarily insolvent. I just wanted to know that my family was safe. I just wanted to know that what I was doing was not for naught. I wasn't turning my back because I was renegotiating the terms, reneging on my promises. And in a sense, I was. I had to turn my back on the world to work on me. I had to turn my back on the next job assignment, the next client, the next opportunity and idea. I got so tired of talking about business ideas. It was like coming out of my nose. Like, I don't know what's priority. I don't know what should come next. Talk about two nations in your womb. Seems like a whole lot more than two. And the one that had to emerge was the one that's willing to live forever and take the hit. And that's you. The mothers, the angels, the ones that identify with other people's struggles, the empath, the narcissist that would dare to forgive themselves. I heard that as a powerful word tonight. Through a movie, when the lady said it was easier to forgive a little bit, in a music creative license, I'm paraphrasing, but she said it was a little easier to forget when I realized he hadn't totally forgiven himself for being unfaithful. And I remember a similar situation where I realized he's not a monster. I've tried to make him a monster, but I still care for him because I care for my daughter. And there's no way I can tear him apart without tearing her apart. There's no way I can turn my back on the Father if I'm believing in the Son. And so it got real hard to reconcile not just the child. That was easy for me. I learned that one years ago when my daughter had a crisis. And he said, we got to come together. We both need her. And there's no way I'm going to pull her apart. That was the wisdom of Solomon. One mind, one mission. Let's save his soul. But then I had another mission that my daughter couldn't do. My daughter's father, my best friend, church, the school, the job, money, many things bent and bowed and compromised, but there's one betrayal that just, I understand why it's unforgivable. Because it never asked. Did you ever ask yourself for forgiveness? And did you grant yourself forgiveness? Total, complete forgiveness, redemption. Someone asked me today how things were going, and I said it's too early to tell. That was the most honest thing I could say. And when I've talked to people in the last few days, there was a question of, how do you move forward from here? From myself. I wasn't sure. I asked questions that I needed advice on, and I don't often need that kind of advice. It's where people try to find counseling, and I gave the scenario of ethics and ethnics, and the person said, I don't know. And I could hear a little helplessness in the voice, and I said, no, thank you so much for being honest. I know truth when I hear it. And that was a scary thing for me, that I didn't want to ever not know truth when I heard it. And it was frustrating for me when I told truth and shared truth and others couldn't hear me, when I felt like I was silently screaming in a bottle. And again, but I heard others saying the same thing, and I said, yo, we're in this struggle together. You know, the memes and the posts and the Facebook, there were times that I turned to it, and then there were times I turned it off. I didn't like to hear that the struggle was real. Okay, I get it. But when is it over? When is it really over? Or do you just keep going around in the loop, the same bush, same relationships with a different face, same bills with a different company? I couldn't take out the trash. I couldn't wash the dishes. I stopped nesting. I stopped eating. I ate just enough, but food didn't have a taste. I slept enough. I would remember it. You don't want to pop. You don't want to breach this thing. So I would get adequate sleep. I know I didn't get all the water I needed, all the fluids I needed, but when I was reminded, I got what I needed or what I could take in. And I didn't want to buy any more clothes. I was losing weight. It was a beautiful time, but that's what you say when you look back. It's the best of times and the worst of times. It's just time. And for me, time will be no more. I know this is it for me. And I thank those that have come before me, and I'm here for those that may come after me. I'm just here to share my story. Thank you for those who dived deep within. Thanks to those who have YouTubed and scoped and tweeted, grammed and slammed, and whatever else you've done to express yourself a little bit louder and a little bit longer. I thank you for your prejudice. I thank you for your benevolence and your maliciousness. Somebody has to be militant. Somebody has to be vigilant. And everybody's not going to do it the way I think it should be done. So thank you for continuing to be the individual that you are. Shine your light, shine your truth. More people will understand it. Try to keep your hands and your mouth off of others so that you don't make it harder than you need to for yourself. I am at peace and I am full of joy. I thank my birth mother, who I believe is rejoicing as her namesake is. I appreciate you. It's not abandonment. It's a band one-ment. We are bound together on something so much deeper than flesh and blood. Thank you for my father for sticking it out 30 plus years later after my mother left. He never remarried. And I've just committed his ashes 2 years ago in about, I don't know, 8 or 9 days to the date. 2 years ago plus 9 days. And he asked us in my closing. I did a recording for him for an article that he wrote for his website. And it was real old school with how he uploaded material, and I thought it would be nice to give audio to his written word. And the CD that I made for him was called How Well Do You Listen? And although as I mentioned, he's an old schooler, although it was very religious based, I held on to the part that resonated for me in current times, in my current emotion state. And that was, am I listening? Am I getting everything that I need out of what I'm saying? It's not always about listening to other people, but listening to your self-talk, and maybe listening to those who have made their way into your head and heart. Your children, your boss, your lover, your ex-lover, your self-doubt, your self-assurance. And I knew positive self-talk was going to be the key. And there were times I had outbursts. There were times I had to start over. Doesn't matter how many times you begin again. Just know that it's worth it. I thank you for listening, and I love you. We all are one. Have a good night.